I don't know about you, but I was absolutely gutted that the Livingston game didn't go ahead at the weekend. And I think it's really thrown the door wide open for what is going to be the team that plays Shakhtar on Wednesday. I think this game is possibly, very likely, going to be the toughest test this Celtic team has faced. Not only are Shakhtar coming off a phenomenal win against Leipzig in match day one, but of course, with all the kind of sentiment that's going around Ukraine and all that kind of stuff at the moment, they are really taking on that everyone's favourite kind of neutral team mantle. They're the one with the cause to fight for. And, being away to Shakhtar in Warsaw, in particular the Legia Warsaw Stadium, this could be the most hostile environment that Celtic come across this season. And, the test is on. In the video today, I'll be talking about basically how I think we're going to do in the match, how we're going to line up. I was at the Real Madrid match, so I'll be using some of my insight from that, as well as our European adventures I managed to see last year, as well as what I've seen from Shakhtar and the highlights against Leipzig, and what to expect in the match in general. At any point in the video today, if you laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe, share, retweet, all that good stuff, guys. Stay out of trouble, and let's get stuck into it. Now, I still can't work out if I think the weekend being off or unavailable is good or bad, because the manager does really rely on momentum and on, playing the hot hand, playing the guys that are hot in form, and really using that tempo and that momentum to our advantage and starting games really quick, as well as keeping the competitive nature on the players when good games do roll in and players are scoring goals. It then puts further pressure on the rest of the squad when they do get their opportunity and they do get minutes to stake their claim to get into the first 11. And I thought Livingston would have been the opportunity for some players to get their opportunity to stake a claim for a place against Shakhtar, because the team that started Real Madrid surprised me. I did not see Giakoumakis and Abada starting. Don't get me wrong, Giakoumakis came out with a lot of plaudits, but probably a little bit too many plaudits for my own liking, to be honest with you. I thought he really dropped off after about 35 minutes or so, and we could have really done with subbing him as soon as the second goal went in on the 60th minute or something. We should have been doing that sub and bringing on Mooy and Kyogo at that point, because I just felt that some of these, I felt like O'Reilly and Giakoumakis, once we got to for Giakoumakis about 35 minutes, and for O'Reilly most of the second half really when he was on, I didn't really feel like they were, firing on all cylinders. And that's not a criticism of them, but the manager demands, all cylinders are firing, full reps are going for the full match. And Giakoumakis did fantastic at bullying Militao. Militao had to get subbed at half time. Ancelotti's getting some mad plaudits about being a tactical genius, but Giakoumakis had his number. And as soon as Rudiger came on, it was a different story. Giakoumakis didn't really have the energy to keep that tempo up, and he wasn't able to bully Rudiger the same way he was Militao. I think without the weekend happening, I don't know if Ange stays with Giakoumakis playing in this game. And I think against Shakhtar, as we've seen with the goals against Leipzig, they were very much a transition, counter-attack, goal-scoring team. The main man, I said it in my group preview, if you didn't catch that, it'll be linked in the top corner of the channel now. But in the group preview, Mudryk was always going to be the one with any sort of real threat and guile. Obviously, they signed Marian Shved, a former Celtic player, on deadline day as well. He came in with a couple of goals against Leipzig, but Mudryk was very close to leaving. I think it was for Arsenal or something, and it fell apart. And he was a huge part of their success against Leipzig, and he is the main man. Now, Mudryk looks world class, he looks top quality, and he looks like, a similar kind of fear our defence should have is when they faced Wirtz last year. Very similar, young, up and coming, fearless, brave, intelligent, and can see, moves and can execute very, very well. But with teams like that are so reliant on one player, I think we might actually be able to deal with these counterattacks better than Leipzig. And obviously I've been, anyone who watches the channel will know I've been watching Leipzig for the last 4 or 5 years, and teams that can turn quick always score well against Leipzig. It's not really anything new, and Shakhtar, just managed to take full advantage of that. Now, we like to score like that as well, and subsequently our defence get practice at defending that stuff all the time. And I think that, we definitely can go into this confident defensively. I think that we're robust and capable enough to defend against Shakhtar's main weapon, which is catching us in transition and turning over, because the midfield players in particular that we have are not as ready to abandon position, let's say, versus the Red Bull style of football, where midfielders will always go into the box and occupy to cause an overload and just try and cause some chaos. Our midfield station themselves a bit more sensibly. Subsequently, so does the defence and the inverted fullback. So I actually think we are really well shaped up to take advantage of this game and get a huge 3 points for the club. But like I said in the tip off to the video, there's an extra element at play here, and it's the away game. It's the away fixture. We do struggle historically on the road, and I'm never a big proponent on bringing historical trends that don't have anything to do with this current set of people. And putting it on their shoulders, so previous failures we've had over the last 20 years away from home, I don't burden this group with, but being away from home is always difficult in Europe, never mind like Warsaw, where the natives have got a particular opinion of Celtic and a particular history with Celtic, as well as of course all their geopolitical stuff is going on with the Ukrainians themselves that will be playing in a neutral ground, displaced with their mainly Ukrainian squad. I personally think the manager will have used this time to his benefit, and I think the team will have just had longer to focus on the Shakhtar game. I doubt that they had any additional time off. If anything, they probably had less time off, no days for recovery or anything after the Livingston game, for example, which didn't happen. So I feel that the team will be well better prepared. I could see us scoring a goal or two again, like I can most weeks, in the first kind of 10 to 15 minutes. But where I can't put myself confidently is in the manager's shoes and use the last game to judge how you prepare for this one, because Real Madrid, if he's learned anything from that, I would say that Giakoumakis was fantastic for half an hour, but when do you want that half an hour? Is it at the beginning of the game and then it lulls for a little bit afterwards? Maybe Giakoumakis is going to be better prepared to impose himself better on this match. I've not seen him in training, I don't know. Abada against Ross County in the Cup and against Real Madrid, it did feel like a wee bit of momentum is passing him by a little bit, and maybe it's time for Maeda to come back in and shoulder that responsibility of starting the game and making things happen from the first whistle. So I think the front line is where the most question marks are, like it is most weeks, but coupled in with that, some other, I would not be one bit surprised if Aaron Mooy somehow started this game. Who for, or why, or how, or what? I don't know how well McGregor played further forward, but I could easily see the manager wanting to play McGregor and Mooy together from the beginning. How he would make that work, obviously I've not got any idea. Would he start Rio? Would he start O'Reilly? Would he start Turnbull? Would he start Haksabanovic? There's a lot of questions about it. Maybe he could start Kyogo and Giakoumakis if those two were the double sixes, if you like, or whatever. That's the kind of curveball I'm waiting for. I think the back line picks itself. It's going to be Juranovic at right back, Carter Vickers, Jens and Taylor with Hart and goals. In midfield, I'm going to opt for what I think is going to be the most picked midfield and the most likely midfield, which is McGregor, Hatate and O'Reilly. And yeah, I think we'll see a much better Matt O'Reilly this week. And this is a real game for Matt O'Reilly and Rio Hatate to kind of, cement their reputation as an up-and-coming wonder kid type guy, because that's what they're definitely thinking about when they're coming to Celtic and getting into Champions League football and pushing both of them for international team privileges for the World Cup. This is a great game for them to step up and do that. So I think that will be the midfield. And for the front line, I am going to pick the same front line that I thought would start against Rangers and against Real Madrid and didn't. But I think he is going to go with Maeda, Jota and Kyogo. But again, I've got really because we don't have that Livingston game as a reference point to move on the evolution of the squad from the Real Madrid match, so much could have happened, in terms of their preparation for the game, the extra levels of prep. And as I say, I've just got this feeling that Mooy has got a chance of starting this game. And if he does, I think the repercussions for the rest of the starting 11 and who the manager selects could be massive, because maybe that's what facilitates Giakoumakis being much more effective from the beginning, for example. And with the manager starting them against Real Madrid, that is a huge vote of confidence. But again, that could be a huge vote of confidence for Giakoumakis. He started against Real Madrid, and then we can get Kyogo back in, and then, Giakoumakis can't feel too hard done to. He started against Rangers and Real Madrid, the two biggest games of the season thus far. And then in this game, where I feel it's going to be the biggest test, like the manager says, you need to play your own way to be properly and truly tested. I feel that this is probably the game where we just turn the tap on again and we just go for it, and we try and treat them like they're Livingston, treat them like their Hearts, treat them like their Rangers. Don't treat them like Real Madrid, because it was almost unavoidable that we treated Real Madrid slightly differently, A draw would be a great result, don't get me wrong, but I'm thoroughly expecting and hoping for a victory, because I think this is an away game where the managers get ample preparation time in advance of the game, and the squad is just fit and firing on all cylinders. There's no notable injuries outside of Carl Starfelt, and all the kind of new signings like Haksabanovic, Abelgard, who we've still not even seen yet, as well as, like I said, Mooy. These guys are pushing and pushing and pushing through the team. So we're such a strong competitive nature in the squad, and we've done very well with transitioning and taking that onto the pitch. You know, the kind of glorious failure against Real Madrid has been put to one side now, and we're looking towards Shakhtar Donetsk in Legia Warsaw, and we're targeting 3 points. I want to know from you what you think the final score will be. I'm going to go for 2-1 Celtic. I think we could score a couple of goals quite quick, and then maybe the game gets quite cagey. And yeah, that's kind of 2-1 is what I'm kind of thinking is what it could be. But again, like, if we do get those couple of goals as early as I think we could get them, it might be like 4-2 or something like that, because both of us will be up for it. You know, they will be really buoyed with carrying 3 points out of the first game against Leipzig, and they'll be thinking 3 points against Celtic, and we're in command of the group. So I think it will be a great contest for the neutral to watch. As a Celtic fan, I'm very excited to watch it. I want to see us give a good account of ourselves, and I do hope and expect for points. I hope you've enjoyed this one, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and retweet, and all that good stuff. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.